This is Rick Bird, President of Contribution Health, with a little demo of how ClearPATH, an actuarial value modeling tool, can be used to solve real world problems in analyzing group renewals. So let's start by looking at a problem. I've presented on the screen a 122 life group. We have the head counts and the rates and the annual cost over here. So this group looks like its premium is just under $2 million. And suppose our sample group is getting a 12% increase, raising their premium to 2.2 million. And the boss tells the benefits manager, let's change plan design to get back to last year's cost. Show me several options to do this. However, let's set up an HRA that will give back maybe 7% or so of the cost through the HRA vehicle, so that the net effect on our company budget, 2.1 million, is the net effect for the plan costs that we're defining as our target. So this is a real world situation. I see these kinds of problems frequently. The way we're going to approach this using ClearPath is to first define the current AV score of the current plan. I've put the plan down here at the bottom. Suppose it's a $500 plan, 500 deductible, 80% plan. It's got a few co-pays in it. The remainder of the items subject to deductible and co-insurance. So what we're going to do is find the value, the actual value score of that plan, and then we're going to find a plan with an AV score, the actual value score, that's about 12% less. This will approximately bring the value of the premium back down to where it began before the 12% renewal. Then we're going to find an HRA that adds back about 7% in actual value back into the plan to arrive at our financial target. And just to cheat a little bit, I went into the calculator and found that this plan is a 94.5% actual value. So therefore, we're predefining our targets. What we're looking for now is a plan at 80.8% actual value. That'll strip the 12% right back out of the renewal and bring us back to the original cost. And then we're looking for an HRA that adds about 5.7 in terms of actuarial value score, which will equate to about adding 7% more cost back into the plan. So let's jump right into ClearPath and see how we go about this. I'm going live online into the ClearPath modeling tool. Let's get this thing big enough so we can see it. And let's go in and build our plan. We saw we had a $500 deductible plan. So I'm going to hit this icon here. It says add a plan. So let's name our plan. This is our, let's call this our demo plan, November 29th, today's date. Let's save it. And we'll hit the icon to go in and edit and build that plan. So we build plans in these 4 simple steps. Add a plan description. We'll do that first. As I scroll down through ClearPath, let me back out of this view so you can get a view, just a view of what we're looking at. We have this is laid out just like an SPC. We have deductibles and co-insurance at the top, and then we have a whole array where you can enter the co-pays. The sequence of steps is identical to the sequence in a typical SPD. So we'll drill in here some better visibility. We'll put in our we're going to build the plan now that we have for this employer, $500 deductible plan. I'm going to enter 2 times family deductible at $1,000. The individual out-of-pocket, if I recall, was $2,000. And so we're in real time now building a plan. $4,000 family out-of-pocket. And the plan had some co-pays, primary care office visit, no longer subject to deductible and co-insurance. And it had a $20 copay. And there were several other copays that I'm just going to shortcut and not build out at this point. So let's hit the calculate button and see where we are so far. The AV score is now calculating. Let's scroll up, and there we go. It's the system just ran and computed a 93.2% actuarial value. Now this is higher than the 90.5. I told you I had already calculated this plan, and that's because we haven't filled in all the deductibles, particularly the drug copays here, all set at 0. So this system currently thinks we have no copays on any of our drug coverage. So I'm going to shortcut and go back to my array of plans, and I'm going to call up the plan I pre-built. I told you I pre-built this earlier. And here's the plan under study, $500 deductible. I've got the copays, 20 office visit, 30 specialist, and the drug copays, and hit the calculate button. And we've previously calculated this at 90.5%. So there's step one of our plan. We've measured the score of the current plan. Now we're going to build a plan, and remember our target is 80.8%. So let me show you how we're going to build a new plan. We're going to go back to our original menu, and we're going to add a plan here. This is going to be the new plan. And let's call this revision 1. We'll save revision 1. I'm going to hit the edit button. And what we have is a blank slate like we did before. When you build a plan, it just preloads with zeros. And it preloads everything subject to deductible and co-insurance, and all the copays are set at 0. So we could start from scratch here and start putting in plan parameters and hit the calculate button and see what we have, but it'd be easier to clone it from something. So let's clone it from the plan under study. This is just a simple way to build a new plan. The in-force plan, it was called Demo Plan November 28. So that's our 90% actual value plan. Let's just call that up. So we've cloned it, and there we have with the 500 deductible, 1,000 family, and so on. Now this is a brand new plan called Revision 1. The actual value is not yet calculated, but the plan parameters have been set and cloned from the current plan. So let's calculate the value and make sure we get the 90% plan we're looking for. And we do. So there's confirmation that we've cloned the proper plan. Now our goal is to change the plan parameters and see whether we can make this thing from a 90 down to 80.8. So let's start with, say, $1,000 deductible. Put in a $2,000 family deductible. Let's ramp up the out-of-pocket, say, to $4,000, just to pick a number. This is a trial and error process. You can sit and fool with endless possibilities here to build a plan. Okay, so we've just changed deductible and out-of-pocket. Let's leave the copays as they are for now. Let's hit our calculate button and see how close we came. And we came pretty close, 80.4. Our target was 80.8, so I think good enough. If there were a few other features you wanted to put in, that could be done as well. Let's toss in a $100 copay, for example, for imaging. And how about a copay for emergency room visits? Let's get rid of the deductible and co-insurance. Put in, whatever, a $100 copay for emergency room. All right, I'm going to come up to the top, hit the calculate button again, and see how we turned out. 81.2. So we actually pushed up the actual value. This plan with those copays is actually a little bit richer, but nonetheless, our target was 80.8, and we're within 0.5% here. That's close enough. So coming back to our financial review, we started with 90.5. We got down to 81.2, so we're pretty much right in the ballpark where we want to be. Let's go in now and see if we can find a HRA that has a 5.7% value. If we can do that, we'll be about done. You'll see the HRA value shows up here in the black box. And we do have our HRA calculator. Now we put in $1,000 deductible. Let's try paying 50% of that deductible. So in other words, the HRA liability starts at 0 and stops at 1,000. And let's put in a 50% HRA and recalculate and see what that does for us. 4.5. We were targeting 5.7. So it's close. It's about 1% off. We could just let it go at that, or just to be a little more precise, this isn't a typical plan design, but let's try 60% HRA. I don't think I've heard of such a thing, but hit the calculate button and see how close we come with a 60% arrangement. And 5.5, it's just about a direct hit of our 5.7. So there we do have the first option to show the employer $1,000 deductible plan with this sort of an HRA, 60% HRA to pay that deductible. We've greatly increased the out-of-pocket as well, and that about hit our financial targets. So we could go back in and do multiple plan designs. We could build a plan design with mostly copays and present any number of options using this tool. So that concludes the demo. What you've seen here in about 14 minutes or so is what you might pay a professional actuarial firm several $1,000s to do this kind of a plan design and modeling study. And here you can use this as a desktop tool and literally solve these things in less than an hour. Thanks for your time and attention.